Thanks very much. Yes, great to be here. I'm CEO of CorInnova, and we're developing a disruptive platform device for the treatment of heart failure to encourage recovery. In summary, it's a disruptive new paradigm of technology that can address large, unserved, $5 billion plus markets. We've demonstrated safety and efficacy in long-term and short-term animal studies, including 14-day studies of chronic heart failure. We're targeting the low-hanging fruit first, which is a short-term use for acute heart failure of 5 days or less, to bridge a patient to recovery or bridge them to a decision to a longer-term device. We've been validated nationally, internationally by many thought leaders and peer-reviewed publications, numerous awards, and we're building CorInnova for complete commercialization with 4 potential exit points. First being within 36 months after first-in-human studies, where other exits have been as high as $575 million. Other exit points would be after the pilot safety study or after the FDA pivotal study, where $1 billion plus exit is possible. And of course, with revenue, as we've seen with Shockwave and Abiomed, 16 times the revenue, 12-16 billion is possible. Our path now to first in human is very clear and technologically straightforward. We're simply manufacturing the device in human sizes and making miniaturized pneumatic driver. And with CEO of Texas Heart Institute, one of our great team members, is designing our first in human clinical trial. And we just had the former chief medical officer and head of heart failure, one of the major Medtech companies, has agreed to join our board of directors. So we really have an outstanding team to bring this to market. As you know, heart failure is a huge problem, 64 million people worldwide, 1 million new cases a year. We're targeting the unmet need to treat short-term heart failure, where the episode you might have just had a heart attack, you need some support, you may have heart failure, be living with it, and you suddenly have a kidney problem or a lung problem, your output goes down, you need to be hospitalized, need a bridge to recovery for 5 days or so, or you may need to be bridged to a long-term device. So that's where we're starting. It's a large market. There's about 1 million people a year in this that are hospitalized for this. We've estimated short-term support is needed by about 250,000 people. And there are existing devices, but they're limited by the fact that they have extensive blood contact, which is related to adverse events. And most importantly for us, half of all patients can't even use those devices, but we can treat them, whereas others can't. Our breakthrough in cardiac assist technology is a thin film polyurethane cup that provides active assist. It gently squeezes the heart. It's got a nitinol wire framework. We have no blood contacting surfaces, so we don't have any blood contact issues. It also treats both ventricles of the heart, so it's biventricular, unlike other devices. It can be rapidly implanted, and it's a platform for not just short-term support, but also for other indications such as long-term support. This animation shows how the device can be folded down to 1-inch delivery tube. We then make a transapical approach, a mini left thoracotomy between 2 left side ribs. We make a 1-inch incision in the pericardial sac. It slips in easily inside the pericardial sac. Uniquely, we have an inner set of chambers that are filled with saline to size the device to the heart. And then we have an outer set of chambers that we gently fill with air to just gently squeeze the heart to increase output. Just like a surgeon would do with a patient in distress on the operating table, or just as someone might do with CPR in terms of compressing the chest. We're developing a pneumatic driver that could be used for both in-hospital use or ambulatory use for a second generation product. The device, again, is rapidly implanted. This shows in a large animal model in a sheep how quickly and easily it goes around the heart, typically less than 20 seconds. Had a 100% success rate with almost 60 deployments. 6 surgeons had no training to do this. Very easy to do in 23 large animal studies. No accessory tools, estimated 10 minutes to device activation in an emergency. And a cardiologist would insert this after surgical access is granted, just like the existing standard of care, the Impella 5.5. But we believe the ease of use of this device will lead to widespread adoption, not just in tertiary centers, but also in secondary centers. This shows the mechanism of action. It shows the device off on the left in a heart failure heart, a sheep, and then you see the device turned on the right. And it's just that gentle squeezing motion that increases the volume of blood being pushed to the heart, increases that stroke volume 80%, output by 50%. So very effective. We've also done longer-term studies to demonstrate recovery. We took 3 animals and dropped their ejection fraction down to 20% with microsphere embolisms, and we found that all 3 improved over a period of 2 weeks with a 50% increase in ejection fraction. And even after we turned the device off, they showed residual recovery with better ejection fraction. In the animals that had sham surgery and no device, 2 out of the 3 expired. So saw a survival benefit as well. Also importantly, saw great safety. Unlike other devices, you can turn our device on or off. And with animals, we turn it off, they could wander around, and we put it back the device on them. So that's important for people doing physical rehab after major surgery. And very importantly, we saw no adverse events, as you would see with other type of devices. So it's a very safe device. And again, it addresses a very large market. It's about a $5 billion market for short-term support for the Abiomed Impella device. And we would target the other 50% of the patient that can't use their device, such as people who have calcified arteries, people who may have smaller arteries, such as women. Only 1 in 5 women get a cardiac assist device, partly because of the sizing. And people who have aortic insufficiency can't use the Impella, and also people that need both ventricles supported are not served well by existing devices. We have a rapid path to first-in-human high-value exit. We've taken $22 million to get to the point we are with these animal studies and design freeze. We're raising $20 million to bring us to the point of completion of 10 patients' data and early feasibility study. Take no more than 18 to 24 months to start, no more than 12 to finish. At that point, other exits in the space have been as high as $575 million. And of course, we can get it to FDA safety study or FDA approval, you're looking at $1 billion plus exits. The revenue model is clear. You charge about $80,000 for the driver. The reimbursable, the implantable would be sold at $35,000, equal to competition. At our existing manufacturing costs, we have 85% gross margins, and these are typically sold through direct sales, so we would sell to a partner that has a sales force to the hospitals. We have great patent protection with 18 U.S. patents issued, 3 pending, international patents issued. We get an extension on patent life with the PMA device. The competition are these other devices that are inserted to the femoral artery. As you can see, there's bleeding at the point of insertion, and also there are significant adverse events such as up to 15% rate of stroke, blood cell destruction requiring transfusion, and kidney dysfunction. But the big news is there's a large number of people that can't use existing devices, such as those with calcified arteries, who can't use anticoagulants to stop stroke, need biventricular support, or women in particular with smaller arteries. And our device can be sized really for small women. As I said, only about 1 out of 5 devices go to women today. We've got a great team. Boris Lashinsky, our VP Product Development, invented another percutaneous LVAD that sold for between $300 and $500 million when Thoratec was acquired by St. Jude. We also have Bill Abraham, who's Chief Medical Officer of V-Wave, which was recently acquired for $1.7 billion, is on our advisory board, has been from the beginning. Susan Alpert, former Chief Regulatory Officer of Medtronic, is an investor and on our board. And then we have Dan Burkhoff, again, tops in the field. George Letsu, tops in the field, working with us. And then the Texas Heart Institute CEO, Joe Rogers, will be designing our clinical trial in conjunction with our advisors. So I think we're going to have a top-notch clinical trial that really show efficacy in even the first 10 patients. Capital requirements, we spent about $22 million to date with a $6 million lead investment from the Wellcome Trust, the others from angels and small venture funds and family offices. We're, again, raising $20 million to reach a first-in-human study and to complete that. And we estimate about another $40 million to get all the way to the FDA approval, which actually is quite low for this type of device. But again, we're only doing 5-day use, so clinical trials are very short and capital efficient. The exits in this space have been huge. With only 10 patients and no approvals, 4 companies exited for up to $575 million in cardiac space. And the most recent cardiac pre-revenue companies have gone for $400 million to $1.7 billion. And that company, V-Wave, didn't even pass their major clinical endpoint in their clinical trials, but yet the data was so good that they got that type of price. For revenue, of course, we would bring it to revenue like Shockwave and Abiomed, the sky's the limit. We've had strong validation and support for our technology as the technology has matured. And what's really exciting is all the clinical thought leaders we're working with are all saying this is a potential game changer in the field. We can treat patients no one else can treat, and we could revolutionize the market for cardiac assist just like the pacemaker. So we've got a great technology. We'd love to talk to any of you that'd be interested. And we've got an early exit potential at a high premium first in human data. So thank you for the opportunity to be here.